Gotta close something. And here I was thinking I had it already. But some little notification popped up. We don't know what it was. But we are in it. Like, this is the shift in perspective to where that we just talk about the normal everyday things that we experience in life, how to change the overall outcome of what we feel about it. And then that way it leads right into this new structure of how we can go about our everyday. That leads us in the best directions. That's the whole point of it. And you are here with your main man, Jocquill. Je n'appelle pas français. And bonjour. Comment allez-vous? Konnichiwa. Genki desu ka? Tomodachi. Nihoma. ¿Qué pasó, mi gente? ¿Cómo estás? Y tu прокашня зизон. Добрый день. I think, and Yuri, right? Добрый день, Yuri. And to all of my people, all around the world, all across the states, getting into it, making it happen. And then let's give one of our biggest shout outs to my boy Ricky. It's Ricky. Chicken it's Ricky. That guy. Salutes to that man. That is a great guy right there, doing his thing, knowing a lot about it. If we'll talk about making it the mediator setup of it, because you know what you're doing, my guy. So for all of my other people, as we go through it, we got the new structure of the TSP, the signature port, to where we're getting into it. And with today's topic, is keeping your focus, baby. That's what it's all about. Because we all know that there's that something, there's that thing, there's this thing, there's I woke up too late, I don't have enough time. And we all got our nice list of them, right? So now this setup is for us to be able to know how to keep it on lock. Now, important thing to say, remember, holding on to the focus of it, like right through binoculars, like isn't the best setup, because then you start to put on these blinders, right? Focus is about being able to know that while you do something, there's external forces, but it doesn't allow you. Meditation is one of the major practices of it. You know, there's different types of forms of meditation. And then also along with the fact of like those cold water tactics that we were talking about. You know, the focus isn't to be like avoiding the water. The focus is to know that the water is cold, but you know, you still let your body realize that. So it's in our everyday, right? You know, we had some people ask about, you know, everyday work, right? You know, I was talking to a few people and they asked about like, what if you go into environments where, you know, it's unavoidable, right? It happens. Like, you know, you got to spend, you know, 4 to 6 hours with, you know, a group of people. If you really get into it, then you probably spending a double on it. So you got to spend like 8 hours to 10 hours with people. So, you know, you want to be able to get in those aspects, right? So what's the best way? How do you do it? That person's annoying. They're an asshole. Like, I can't even bother to even look at them when they, because we have those people. Now, look, I say it like this. Eventually, the damn that's crazies are gonna run out, right? You can only have so many damn that's crazy before they realize that you haven't said nothing, right? So the focus isn't to avoid these kinds of people and avoid the situations and scenarios. It's about knowing the deliberate practice of it. I gotta look up that word. The deliberate practice of it. I think it's a ascesis, if I'm not mistaken. The deliberate practice at ascesis, but we'll confirm that. Outside of that, the deliberate practice of knowing that these things happen, right? You go like you've worked here for 3+ months now, so you kind of get an idea of the ideas, situation, and scenarios of what goes on, who's who, and who does what. So then you don't go into the environment, you don't go into your own work attempting to be like, all right, I'm gonna just do it for like 20 minutes and then we'll see where I get. No, no, no. You want to go into it with the pure focus of knowing like, all right, cool. I know the last time I was here, this happened, that happened, that happened. I felt this way, that way. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep that focus and I'm going to do the things that's going to allow me to keep going where I'm going. Because this is also one little point of the focus, and then we'll jump into the topics. It's easy not to care. Now, look, I know that a lot of people think that that's a little, easier said than done, but it's not. That's not how it is. It's actually a lot easier to not really care about the situation. Now, people confuse the sympathy of the emotion, scenario, or situation and the attachment to it, right? They do both. You get into this moment of where you want to feel for someone, but then you implement too much of your attachment to that feeling of what you want to relate to. And then it causes you to be pulled right into it. That's why so many people feel like they can't get away from certain environments and scenarios, because naturally you're somebody who genuinely cares to be like, oh my gosh, like that's, oh, well, you want to genuinely give interest, right? But then you don't want to become that person that always, like, if you're that person that anybody can come and talk to, then that means it's probably because you're good at listening, or you just are there for them to vent to you, and then you get pulled into their role. There's a different setup of what it is, because you can't let people just drop anything into what you're thinking about and how you feel or how they feel. That's why it's so important to know that level of how you can go and have someone can have a passing in the family, and then you can go, oh, condolences for your loss. I know how hard it is, without being with them, crying with them on their shoulder. You don't have to, it's a different kind of support setup and structure that you want to be able to give. And that keeps yourself at a level that you can assist without being pulled in, and it's easy, right? It's easy to confuse it with the fact that sometimes it's your closest people, right? It's your family, it's your brothers and sisters, it's your best friends, it's your long-term partners and whatnot, and they have an issue and problem, but then just because of the representation of who they are to you makes you think that, oh, I gotta, when they call, I gotta, because at the end of the day, people have to do what they have to do. So if you're someone doing what you have to do and they are in communication with you because they have this valid point, you can say, hey, I get that you're going through something right now. Like, let me give you a call back when I get some time. And then that way you can go handle your business, set yourself up to where you can make that time for them, because we talk about, you can't pour from an empty bottle. So if you calling me and I'm making money to where that, if that money can help you in a certain way, then, it's kind of inverse for me not to be making money anyway. I just don't let me waffle, don't let me ramble. But you don't have to always include your own feelings into the mix of it, right? You can allow yourself to just be there, and then can separate how much of you put into it. All right. So that's just one of the points I wanted to bring up with that, because, I like to set it up to where we see both, because the thing about perspective is that we understand that there's this thing, and there's this side, and there's this side. And then what happens is we lean too heavy on one side of it, that we lose the focus of what can happen. And then we also allow ourselves to just be so on the fence about it, that we don't think about stacking the principles that each one would like to represent and teach us. So that's one little aspect of the signature pour shift in perspective brought to you, that we like to really get into it. Because yes, the thing with the world is that there's not enough relatability, right? There's only just so much. It's my point, and this is how I feel, and this is how it is. If you can allow yourself to be able to structure your opinion without the feelings, that same separation of letting what you want to be known without the attached feeling and energy towards it, then your point can go through a lot more efficiently. because then there can be this understanding. It's like, oh, well, they got something to say and they're not crying about it. Some of these people, some of these people be crying about stuff, and they, you gotta leave them people alone too. If you hear somebody that's just crying to you and they always got a problem, just know. I'll bring up this. I'll write it so I remember it. So that way we can get into the points. All right. So look, you see me keeping the focus. All right. So the first point is, when you keep in this focus, is what's the best thing that can happen, right? We just talked about it. We just mentioned the fact of going into a scenario environment or like a task or a job or duty, and then there's going to be something there that gets into my way. There's going to be something, right? So what's the best thing that can happen out of the situation, right? People always go into the fight ready to lose, right? What's the saying? If you go in with the losing mindset, then you've already lost. So people go into scenarios and situations knowing what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and how they're going to feel without bothering to restructure how they think about it when they go into it. They will just continue to show up to a place and go, another man. And then after 25 years, like, you realize all you've done is just that, right? So it's being able to understand, like, when I go into this same environment, this same place that I've always usually visit on a regular basis, what can I get from it versus what's going to happen, right? Everybody wants to get so close to the outcome result. Like, look, trust and believe, I'm no stranger to it. There's been times where I clocked in, and as soon as I clocked in and then looked at it, I was like, I'm ready to go. Like it happens, because I'm way too sexy for this shit. Like, it's so I get it. Like, it makes sense. But then that's the thing. Then you have a really great day, right? You have like a really awesome shift. You have like a really realization about like the aspects of where you can go and how you can do things, right? You kind of forget that you didn't even want to be, right? So that's like a really cool concept of being able to understand that, like, go in with the best kind of outcome of the results, right? I'm going into this workplace so that way I can build my skills when it comes to communication, when it comes to my efficiency, when it comes to my tasks, when it comes to my focus, that can allow me to have the best outcome in this scenario, situation, task, or duty, right? That's what it is. What's the Konnichiwa genki desu ka? Shoshin. I'm learning it in Japanese, but Shoshin is approach every situation as a beginner. Even if it's something you've done 100 times, the 101 time, go at it as like you've never even done it before, right? Like, because then there's always something more to gain. This is why, like, sometimes if you ever listen to a song or like watched a movie, like, it was a little bit funnier in the movie because you noticed a scene that you didn't really like pay attention to before, and then like you listen to a song and then like there's a lyric that really resonates with you, and you're just like, man, I've heard this song since 2006. Like, why have I never heard of it? That's every Lil Wayne song for me. That's every Lil Wayne song from like 2001 to like 2005 of just listening to him like, what? So it's always interesting to get that perspective, because then you can allow yourself to kind of like go back on it. This is why they say, like, journaling is like an important thing. Like, I'm not one of those people who writes every single day. Like, I am somebody who does make sure that I do record thoughts properly, right? You want to be able to hold on to what's working, kind of disregard what's not. Or so allow me to keep that focus on knowing, like, all right, this is what I did today. This is what worked. This is what I can work on. Then you can learn how to structure your daily routine to match your everyday success with your everyday schedule that can put everything all together, nice, wrapped up tight, to where you create this foundation of it. And that's what we're here for, to talk about. So that way we can always grasp that understanding, because it happens, man. Always, you look, it go in, you didn't woke up, you felt great, you got your breathe, you're breathing, you're nice, you're good, you had a good breakfast, you got your morning coffee. You got your coffee, it's good, we're ready, you get to work, you're ready for it, and then everybody else is having a great day. They're not having the best time as much as you are. So you don't get pulled into the setup. What people do is the fact that they let it kill their vibe. Like you just killed my vibe. Like no, like the environment made me a little, and I'm still the same person I was before I walked into it. Like I'm not. Just because everybody else is upset doesn't mean I should think about all the things that can make me upset and then start relating to that point with them. That's no. We talk about it all the time. Like, this happened, and then they go tell, and they go tell, and they go tell, and it's just this. It works the other way too. If you go into an environment with your focus of knowing like, like, oh man, so much is going on in my environment. I got things to do. I got my money to make. I can handle my business, and then people see you doing what you do, and like, mind you, look, you walk past them. You're a person in society. You got to work. You walk past them. Hey, how's it going? And then they, I tell you, like I said, and then don't look. Remember, focus, right? Don't pull the, oh my gosh, like, oh, that's so sad. Like most people don't want sympathy, right? Most people just need something to like say. They just need to get it out, right? That's like just not it, right? So don't sit over here and allow yourself to just no, just be like, oh my gosh, that's insane. But hey, let me get back to you on that. Like, because you got your things to do. They're going to read that kind of energy, knowing that mind you, it could be somebody that you worked with for years. It could be somebody new that you just worked with. Like it could be anybody, right? To where that they're going to understand that, oh, well, I'm not obviously going to be able to talk to him because, like, they got something to do. Like, they're going to handle their business. That's how you keep your momentum in those environments. Like, that's the most simpler way to put it, That's how you can go about it. Hey, don't really got time for this right now, but let me get back at you, because if it is your friend, if it is your brother, if it is somebody that you want to, you can do this. It is not a work situation. I bring it on the fact of the environment. Like, you go into these environments. You can go home. You can go to work. You can go to school. You can go to a random Walmart. Like, it's just the everydays, right? So for you to understand that, all right, I'm here to do what I do. So what's the best thing that can happen for me, even though everything else is going on right now? What are the things that I can do to focus on where I'm going? Because like I'm going this way, everybody else's focus is that way, but my focus isn't that way, remember, because I'm going this way. So what's the best thing that can happen for me on this way? Like, that's why I say it only gets better from here. Solo mi hard ass, una gran vida. Like, it only gets better because of the fact that you allow yourself to know that, oh man, this could get in my way a little bit, but hey, look, oh, now I realize I can jump higher. Like, like, oh, this could get in my way. Oh, now I realize like I can handle, someone else's personal stress a lot better because I can relate on how I would feel in that scenario without the whole attachment to their feeling to give so much energy and then continue on about your day. That's like, that's how you keep that. That's how you keep that more. Look, that's that motion for you right there. I tell you, because remember, first law of energy is that it stays in motion entirely unless interrupted by an external force. So that means if you going and then something comes out of nowhere and then you go, that's what happens. But if you're going and something comes out of nowhere and you go and then keep going, then you continue on your motion without it. A lot of people, and look, you can see these people, a lot of people will say it to you. They will go, you will go, hey, how's it feeling? And they will go, hey, I'm doing it, but this thing made me feel. It happens. So a lot of people are letting an external factor get in the way of what's supposedly in the way of what they're supposed to do, right? So you're supposed to be already in your mode. Now I can't stop saying suppose. Like you're in your momentum of going in a continuous motion, so where that now these things come out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh well, oh man, oh inconvenience. No, like because you don't allow it to get in the way. Because remember, there are better things ahead. There's a better things ahead. Offer. Sorry, I was trying to. I messed up the structure. Sorry. This is why I gotta see the focus. Right, the focus is to keep last one. Take two. But that's the thing. What's the best thing that can happen of it? Right? What's the best kind of outcome that can come from like any? It's easy to take a inconvenience and state the whole list of why it inconvenienced you, right? This whole boom, it did this and they feel this, and it is easy to make this entire list of why it makes you feel bad. It's a lot harder for you to go, this is what it showed me, this is what it taught me, this is what it made me realize about myself, because that's that inner work that we try. That's why you say optimism isn't just willy-nilly free thought thinking. No, optimism is constructed visualization of what can be versus what is. So if you can allow yourself to stay focused on the fact that like, all right, even though all this stuff is in my way, and you can see the field through the what's the expression? To see the pasture through the forest or something. Like I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. You know, you can see it through there. I shouldn't have tried to use it. But if you can allow yourself to keep that focus on the end, light at the end of the tunnel, that's a better one. Like if you can focus on the light at the end of the tunnel, then like, you know, you can learn, you can know that even if you can't see it, like, you know, if you keep going down that dark tunnel and you can just focus on the fact that I've just tripped out, there's a wall out, that kind of hurt, like, you know, and just focus on finding the light toward the end of the tunnel. That's a little bit better. I like the forest and the trees, but I can't get it right. So what's the best thing? What can it teach you? What can it bring? Because if you focus on all of the other things, then you don't allow yourself to really grow from the aspect, and then nothing happens. As it goes, it grows. You have to allow it to grow, though. You can't always just blame the external forces of why my life is so because you sitting there complaining when there's something to do. Like, that's why your life is like that. You over here, you got plenty to do, and you over here, like, you know, and it works in the other ways too, right? It's not always like a complaint. It's always like, it can be like an irritation, right? It can be like an eager feeling of something not happening, right? This is where, you know, you kind of lose patience and stuff, right? It could be something that you're working on that, oh man, why isn't it, you know, because the focus isn't on the why isn't it doing anything. The whole best thing that can happen, it's supposed to, what's the best thing that can happen from this thing? Like, why am I putting so much energy into it? Why am I putting so much passion and focus? So that way it can become the thing that it's supposed to be, versus why isn't it doing what it's supposed to do, right? So that's way you can always keep that kind of setup in motion, so that way you can keep it. It's just like I like to tell this story, right? It's fun. Three men, all given piles of bricks, and the first one, he stacks the bricks, stacks them as they are, just to organize. The second man builds a wall. The third man starts to build a cathedral. All the men have the same materials, but they all have different perspectives of what can be done with those materials. And only one man is going to be able to work a lifetime, because the thing that you think about building on an entirely grand scale basis, you start to learn that there's just so many more developments that need to be done in each side of the development. So then it shows you that the work is nonstop, right? If you're a carpenter or someone who designs buildings, you don't just throw up one building and be like, okay. No, you design the whole landscape structure of New York City or whatever. Hey, that's all about that real estate. Hey, holla at me. We want to do some real estate. We do. We gotta just gotta keep the passion. Anyway, like so to design something in a concept of what's the best thing that can come from this while you're doing it leaves you in the perspective of knowing that I can do this every day, right? I can get up and I can get excited about it. I'm kind of I think envious is the word. I don't really like the way it sounds, but I'm kind of envious of people who know how to work on cars. And I'm not talking about I can change a tire, I can do an oil change. I'm talking about the people who literally take this body vehicle and then put some engine in it and then put some paint in it and put some seats in it and then the design and then the battery and then the carburetor and all of these other aspects and then really makes this brand and to think that the end goal of someone who knows how to fix a car like that, right, isn't to fix the car, right? If you ever seen that one show, Gas Monkey, that's a good one. I like the concept, restructuring the whole setup of it. Anyway, but if you're someone who's designing the car, right, you're not designing it to be done with the design. You're someone that's designing it you laying over the touches, you got the right parts, you're letting the delicacy. So some days you're not gonna be in the mood. So you're gonna kind of go in there, you're gonna kind of look at it, you're gonna kind of put a stroke of paint on it, and you're not really gonna some days you're just gonna be a little bit more tired and whatnot. So you're gonna kind of want to do it, and you're gonna be all right, not today, not today. I'm gonna come back to this point later too. Not today, to where that you give yourself that moment to all right, let me figure out how I want it, because that the overall it shouldn't be gotta do it. The overall is all right. What is it going to become? All right. How can I get it done? All right. I got to do it again. I got to keep it going. Got to keep doing it, to where that you allow it to build. That leads us into the next point of, I'll switch them actually. That'll lead us into the do it or don't. Go at it or don't. Because if you decide to do it, that's a choice. If you decide not to do it, that's a choice. If you're in this mix of then you're not making any choices, then you're prolonging your progress, and then you find yourself in this whirlwind of stuff. Then you need to go into research why you don't understand, and then you find out you got anxiety, and then you fart, and then you go down this road. I got my own. So don't let me ramble. Don't let me waffle. We're doing good with the structure. But bouncing back and forth from option to option isn't a choice. It's indecision. And doubt always brings disappointment. If you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, I wonder, is it going to? Oh my gosh, is it? If you sitting there the whole time like that, then you're not going to get a great outcome, because all you're doing is just putting into. So do it or don't. If you have to do something, then do it. But if you know that you got to do something and you aren't going to do it, then know that. Don't make the excuses. Don't pat yourself on the back. Don't say you worked hard so you deserve it. No. Don't give it. No. Just say you're not going to do it and move on. So that way you can continue to do the things that you are going to do. Now, look, I say that because I am in this mode myself, right? That was actually going to be the title of this one. The title of this live was going to be do it or don't. Do it or don't do it. I'm tired of hearing your book. Excuse me. That was going to be the title. When I decided to keep it making your focus, because then I threw this point into the keeping your focus. It lines up with everything else. That focus. Because right now, I'm having a great time. I'm having fun. I like literally when it comes to restructuring the channel, the business, it's fun. Like I'm starting to understand that putting together systems and structures and then allowing them to work and allowing them is a really fun process, right? There are some of those things in that process that I definitely do not want to do. Like I get to that part of the process and I go, nah, nah. I see why somebody gets paid to do this. Like because I really don't want to do this. Who do I pay to do this? Like. So there are some things that you don't want to do. At the end of the day, you still kind of keep that focus on the fact of why is it going to be the thing that I want it to be? Like, what is my why for putting in the energy, the work, the time? So that way I can get it to where it can be in this form and structure of what I see possible, right? So along with that, you get to those points. Like the journey isn't always smooth, baby. It's not always smooth. There's gonna be some bumps. There's gonna be some nails. There's gonna be some walls. There's gonna be some detours. It ain't smooth, but it's all about the knowing of, all right, cool. If you got to make a detour, then maybe it's a road that you've never even seen before. You lived here for years and you've never been down this road. We talked about this before, that one road that you've never taken and whatnot. Maybe that nail in your tire is just showing you the structure of knowing like, all right, cool, you've been delaying actually wanting to know how to fix a car and whatnot. So now here you are, got to roll up some sleeves, But what happens is that the inconvenience is so strong that the feeling of the inconvenience becomes even stronger to it, which makes you automatically not want to do anything except feel. So if you can allow the inconvenience to happen along with the blessing it can bring to your everyday structure, then you can get more out of it, even though it still sucks. Like that's like it still sucks. Like we get that. But now I know that, like, look, I'll use the stuck in traffic one, right? This traffic is like, oh my gosh, I leave work at the same time every time, and this traffic is, oh. The inverse of that is to know that when you get off work, hey, there's a time for me to listen to this playlist, this audiobook that I've been wanting to finish. You know what? Maybe I'll just take a different route today. I always take the highway. Maybe I'll take one of like the back roads. If you know anything about like every city has its roads. There's the main way, and then there's the main way north and south, and then on that same main way there's east and west. So there's something on the east side, there's something on the west side. There's a road that does the similar kind of aspect of north and south, that the same thing that the highway does, and it goes just as far. That's every city. Like, it may not be as efficient, they may not be like as fast and whatnot, but there's always a way, right? So I say that to say that you don't always have to take that highway. So you end up taking another route home, right? Or what? Maybe, look, you drive to work every day and you drive back and everything, and you see this one restaurant, coffee shop, library, whatever, that always looks so interesting when you ride past. And you always say, if you had the time, then you would go there. So when you get off work, knowing that the traffic is about to hit, all right, you know what? I just got off. I always run into traffic. I'm going to go to this place and then do what I do. Oh, look at this. This is something more of an experience of life that I've never even thought to grasp more before I had to roll up. Like that's how I work. That's how I always, that's like my, like, oh, Lord. Like, that's like the, well, would you look at that? Like the skin off my potatoes. Like, but you can allow yourself to realize new aspects that can come from the same things, right? Like everything it's just like what we said earlier, like the listening to the song, like, watching that movie again. Like you've seen it 100 times, and now this 101 time you over here like, oh, what? I've never seen it. Well, I'll be like, so that's it. So when it comes to allowing yourself to have that structure of knowing that, all right, what's the best thing that can come from it? I'm going to do it and I'm going to knock it out. Then that can lead you into the blame nothing. Now, all accountability on your shoulders, in your hands, on your plate of you just knowing that, all right, I chose to work at this job and I drive here and I'm off at this time every day and I choose to get in traffic knowing it's going to be traffic. So then when you get in traffic or you decide to still take the highway or you don't go to the place or you don't take one of the back roads and then you get in that traffic and you still go, oh, this traffic is always don't even put on the playlist that you talked about. Don't even do the audiobook. And you still upset. I need the bleeps, like the because come on now, like that's what the whole setup is. You gotta know that things happen. You do know, right? Take it from someone who has seen their fair share. And then don't even take it from me. Just look in your everyday environments of people in the world not doing anything to contribute, not doing anything to work, not doing anything to effort. In all levels, right? It ain't only just like poor, it's all the levels. There are people who are up high, not doing things that they should be doing. There are people in middle class not doing things they should be doing. There are people who are in lower class that are not doing things they should be doing. And I know some people here and here. I don't really know too many people up there. Getting to that point where we talk to them. And it comes in all different kinds of forms. And people will decide to blame that external factor. They're in their momentum. And then next thing you know, they stop because, this thing got in my way of stopping versus having more skill and development to just clear it and then keep going, or more patience to understand, all right, that looks like something that's going to get in my way. I'm going to make another way, to where that you can allow more to come from it. But the thing is, we get so caught in the feeling of the inconvenience that we don't allow those thought processes to happen. We're all victims of it. We all get to a point. We all are always in this mode of, man, I could have. Man, if I don't like the shoulda, coulda, woulda myself anymore. Because I like to do. So on top of being able to set up the structure of it, right? You make the list. Make the list of what you're going to do, right? So that way you can't leave nothing to the externals. You can't leave anything to the blame. You can't leave anything to the excuses, right? Allowing yourself to structure your day literally 9:45, 10:45, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Allowing you to structure your setup, the list that you need. Look, I tell you, I can't even leave the house without a list. I need to make sure that, because I'm going to go to Walmart, I'm going to go to Publix, I'm going to grab some materials, I'm going to go online. There's going to be so many things that I do that I'm going to forget everything I put on that list. And especially now, sometimes I end up leaving it. I'll end up writing out the whole list. I'm like, all right, let's go do it and attack the world. And then I'm out in the world. I'm like, the list. So how do I keep that focus, right? To make sure that the everyday things that need to be done are in your everyday routine. Your everyday habits create your everyday success. So everything that you do in your everyday routines can allow you to do the things you always need to do. That's the best part about setting yourself up for success, right? You can allow yourself to structure the day for you to get up and know, all right, cool, I'm going to do what I'm doing. I'm in my mode. I got this focus, to know that the inconveniences and life are there. So what's the best thing I can gain from them? To understand that the fact that I got to do it or I don't, so that way I don't leave myself to indecision and then not doing anything that's supposed to be done, to where that you can lead into blaming nothing. Don't let the scenario, don't let the moment, don't let the people, don't even let yourself blame anything on why anything isn't being done. Because at the end of the day, it's all based around what you do. You got something. You do this, you do something. It only gets better because the one thing, the 8 things, the 16 things that you do or know how to do, you can create more value from them that can allow you to shoot to exponential directions of your life. And that's all it is. It does take the thought process, it does take the time to really. Because if you don't, then you will always have all of these outside external things in your vision, in your view, and then you're not going to have the focus, and then you're going to blame the concept, and then you're not going to do it because you're blaming this concept, and then you're not thinking about what the best things that can happen because of the fact that you're allowing all the things to happen versus knowing that, like, that's pretty cool. Like, so to allow yourself to be in a state of mind to understand, like, all right, cool, on my way to this environment, until I change this environment or until it does what it does, I guess I'm going to have to do this. Like, let me do this. Like, that's how it is. Like, and look, it's an honor to be able to speak on these topics and points like this because I'm not over here BSing you. Like, there's been a lot of things in my life to where I was just like, and then I've stopped going, and then started going, okay. Like, all right, I'm ready. Let me go ahead and get it. Let me go ahead and get it right. I'm telling you, that tournament I was in, I was so hyped. After that tournament, wasn't too sure of myself. Like, I was like, but that's what happens. Like I say, it's not the fact that I didn't feel I was my strongest. It's not the fact that I'm just like not good. It's the fact of the focus necessary to accomplish those things and then being able to do them in my best aspects. Now, for me being in the same aspect that I was in that tournament and then got to do what I got to do, I didn't just go out, hey, I didn't get knocked out. It was the decision. It was points. No, do that. Like, but for me to understand where I am and how form, like structure, like workouts, diets, and how they all work in my system, in my everyday success and routines, it can allow me to go back to the drawing boards, law of conservation of energy, transform a couple of pieces and points to where I can get to a certain level. And then you go back at it. Like, now I can go back into the next one knowing that, like, all right, let me do this. Let me have that focus. Let me have that setup and that structure to where that even if, like, you don't win them all, but you don't lose forever. Like, so, like, remember that. I like that. You don't win them all, you don't lose forever. That's some t-shirt worthy right there, right? And look, I'm coming with more t-shirts as well. I'm gonna like really set them up real nice to where that, like, I can start doing giveaways and stuff like that for y'all to rock some of that, some of the Shift and Perspective merch, some of the TSP brand wear to where they we get it. But I'm telling you, man, look, if you know me at this moment, hey, if you've known me before this moment, you already know. Like, so as we put this together, as we design it, the focus isn't on, am I going to make money off t-shirts? Am I going to be able to really do it? Am I going to be able to help people for real? Am I really going to, no, because that's the wrong direction of the focus. Like, it's some focus, but it's not the good one that we need. The proper focus is for me to be like, all right, I'm continuing to build. All right, like it's working. Like, look at how many people I get to talk to. Look how many. I was in Walmart yesterday, and this girl, she was on speakerphone, and she was talking to a friend of hers, and the friend was on the phone, and then like the friend was like, blah, 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 blah. But then like the girl who was in Walmart with me, she was on the phone with her friend, and she's like, girl, you have to stop because you're just setting up problems and situations and scenarios for yourself that don't even exist. And then her friend was like, yeah, I guess, I do overthinking and whatnot. So then, like, me being someone who I am, I was just like in the aisle and I was just like, hey, listen to it. She knows what she's talking about. And I was able to get into this conversation with this girl about the fact that she mentioned the fact that she was like, oh, yeah, it's just because we're girls. I was like, no, I wouldn't put it like that. I would say it's because we're human. Like we're in humanity. There are so many things going on. So we get deterred, we get self-doubting, we get a little distracted to where that there's these things that can happen versus what we're thinking about. But then like the feeling is so strong that we think about it forever, right? People can't let stuff go. Like people will bask on something for years. That's good and bad. Sometimes people bask on past glories as if they just did them yesterday. Like, right? These happened years ago. They're still so caught up on the fact of like how it made them feel then and how they go that they just live in that moment. That's no bueno as well. Like you have to understand, especially if you're on your way to do bigger and bigger things, that there's always more to do. I'm not saying that you got it. We always talk about it. There's the levels to it, right? You can stop at any level. Like 100,000, million, billion, trillion, zillion, quadrillion, zerphillion, like whatever ones they come up with next, right? And I don't even know where are you finding all these minerals to make this currency? Who do we owe? Like, you know what I'm saying? No. But like, for you to understand that like just these things are just in the world, like to structure them and yourself properly is the one way that you get through. The obstacle is the way. The obstacle is the way because the thing that's in your way for you to overcome is the thing that makes you something that brings you to higher levels to do the same exact thing. You start to realize that at the top of every mountain is the bottom of another one. So then you get to a point to where you go to the top, now with the expectations of making it to the top, but then for the expectations of the focus, the strength, the endurance built to get there, to be like, now let's go, like to where that you keep going if you want to. I mean, you can get to that top of the mountain and be like, hey, yo, I just did that. And then, go back down the mountain and just like, I think they say, if you go up a mountain, you got to go back down. So like, I think it's just as much work to get down. It may be easier. You may have found it, the route or, whatnot, but I'm pretty sure it's still work to get back down as well. So you can just go back down. You can be like, all right, look, take off the scarf and the goggles and the gloves. I did that. Yep. I see y'all next year to climb another mountain. You can like, you can do anything. You have the choice. It's your life. You can do it. You literally go like this. This is what happens because this is what I do. I go, oh man, that's cool. I want to do that. Well, how do I get there? How do I do that? Man, I'm not someone like who does something like that. So then I gotta like really go, wait. Go back to the first thought. I want to do that. And I was like, okay, wait. Now I want to do that again. What am I going to do to get there? Because, like, forget that one. That one didn't make me feel good. What am I going to do to get to that point to where I can be like, oh, this is really cool? Like, I do it often with trees, right? I'm a big outside guy. Like, I love nature. Get them vitamins. Connect with the earth, baby. Like, the nature is your real human spirit. Like, anyway. Like, so I'm a big outside guy. Like, and I'll just be driving, like I drive, delivery driving, like, so I'll be driving through a neighborhood. I'm like, man, that's a nice ass tree. I'll not go climb that tree. Like, to understand the structure, every tree is different. Like, to understand the texture of the bark, to understand, like, and then when I get up in the tree, I'm like, kind of like sitting in it and I'm looking down, I'm looking at, see if I can climb any higher, if any other branches or anything. And then I'm up there, I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I get out the tree, I get out, like I had fun, like getting up here. This was awesome and everything. I'm glad I got to see it from a different view. Like, this is a really cool tree. It's all weird and got branches and stuff. Like, it's nature. It's great stuff. And I did that. Okay, get out the tree. Like, sometimes I climb too high. I'm like, oh dang. Jump out the tree. So there's I'm genuinely like excited about like the structure of it. So use that same kind of perspective, right? Use that same kind of energy that can allow you to get excited about something and then understand like there is something that's going to be in the way. There's inconveniences and people everywhere. Like we say this all the time. There's always inconveniences and there's always people. So if you think you about to get away from either one of them, let me know how that works, because maybe you figured out something more than everyone else has. And then maybe you should be like writing books and stuff, because come on now, like we got vamos a ganar dinero, like we got some money to make, we got moves to make. Let's go ahead and make it happen so we can go out here and do what we do best to make sure that we take care of the people that we want to take care of. So with that being said, remember, keeping the focus is nice. Keeping the focus is knowing when you keeping your focus that what's the best thing that can happen from the situation, right? Something's going to happen, right? The world is the world. So when you go somewhere, things are going to occur. Sorry, I said occur. Things are going to happen. So what's the best thing that can come from it, right? Then to do it or don't. Either when you get to the top of that mountain, when you get to that height of the tree, either climb down, keep going. Your choice. And then leave nothing to blame. Nah, you did not do nothing because of anything else. You didn't do nothing because of what you didn't do. The moment you allow yourself to follow that setup and structure. Now look, y'all hear me talking about it now because of the fact that this is everyday shit for your everyday success. Soon, I'm going to be somebody who start taxing for this information. Like, no, when it goes, look, if you go into my link tree now, we got the Mind, Mood, and Money Reset course. It's $1 right now. And everybody, look, y'all, look, we got the 1K subscribers. Big shout outs to all my people. All my people, we going through the roof. We shooting through and we having fun with it. But just watch. When we sitting here on 100,000 subscriptions, on 500,000 subscriptions, on 1.2 million subscriptions, and then that same course ain't $1 no more, I'm going to look at y'all like, go back and watch them 2026 lives. And you can get a little bit of this information straight up in its rawest form. But hey, who am I? Who am I? I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy on the other end of that phone talking about what can be done in our everyday lives. And then along with the shift in perspective that can be taken along with it to understand that more can be done. Because look, this is why it's the shift in perspective, because these are just lessons. These are lessons. This are scientific equations. This is human psychology. So this ain't nothing that nobody can't learn. This is just the simple everyday structure of what we do here at the Signature Port for the shift in perspective, for the bartender, for all of my people. Because if we set it up in a wonderful structured design with knowing that inconveniences and people exist, along with the fact that it's a journey, not a destination, with the whole structure of wabi-sabi tomodachi to understand the beauty in all of what's happening and stack all these principles, then you just go right in and do what you do best with no discord and no hesitation, with all the confidence, because it's what you do. That's why it only gets better, because we get better. That's it. That's the whole setup. That's the structure of it. And this is what we do every day. And guess what? We do more. Once we realize that it's light work, thought about home for our seal, we get in it and get some more done. That's how it is. That's how it goes. That's why we do it. It's awesome. And it's really great because it's not about what's happened and what's going to happen and what has happened. It's about what you do with where you are. Like, there have been times where I have been up and I have been down. And I guarantee you, the work that it takes to be up versus the work that it takes to be down is two different kinds of work and two different kinds of feelings. And I guarantee you that when you decide to do the successful work versus whatever this is, whatever you want to call it, and you handle all of what you need to do, you're going to feel a lot better doing this than doing this. That workout sucks. That diet sucks. Well, then, in 6 months, when you walk around and you and you've gotten to a point to where you feeling it, then you're going to look back on the moment that you started and think like, cool. Because like Chris Brown says, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. Oh, I don't get and hate. That's why I say, look, use it now. Look, I say, look, I'm just a guy with, 1,100, it's 198 subscribers, I think it is. Like, what them other two people had to get me up to that 1,200? Like, what them other 100,000 people had to get me to that 121,000? Like, all right, that's cool. Look, we just gonna keep, because the structure isn't for me to be some famous YouTuber, some guy. No. The structure is for us to be learning every day. So that way, when we need to use this information, we use it properly and in moments. And then that way, if we miss the chance to use it, we understand both concepts and perspectives of it, and then go back at it stronger, better, ready for it the next time around. That's all we do. That's all we here for. That's all we here for. Like, don't let it. What's the best thing? What's the best thing that can happen? Do it. Or don't. And don't blame nothing. Nothing ain't doing nothing to you that ain't got you doing what you need to be doing. With that being said, my people, here we are, another Saturday, living it up, talking about it, doing what we do best. We here with it every Saturday at 12. Like, I appreciate everybody in my comments. I'm gonna jump into some of these comments. This is why I need the mediator. So because we up. I'm gonna start from the top. Hey, look, man, we doing the thing, dog. We doing the thing. Yeah. Hey, if I missed it, happy birthday to Anita P. We've been kind of like structuring it differently to where, like, I want to get the information out. I don't want to be just like some random person you just scroll past on your feed to where I'm just like over here like blah 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 blah. I'm just like talking and stuff. Like, no, I want to like structure it to where that we got the topic at hand, and then we break down the topic. We break down the points that lead into the topic for us to be able to put it into a system that we can follow on our everyday, despite our schedule, despite what we got going on. We can still take these same structures because these are just things that I'm learning and taking to where we go. So, like, when I get into it, I want to, get into it so that way we can get through everything. And then, like, I do all my shout outs at the end. So if I missed you and I didn't see it, like, don't worry, it's all love. But that's why, look, I'm on this next level of like, I need an on-call cameraman. I'm missing way too much footage. So like, and then like, with the YouTube big and growing and doing our thing, then we gonna need some monitors. We gonna need some monitoraries. We're gonna need the team and crew set up. So look, I tell you, the focus isn't on what I'm gonna get from a YouTube channel or what I'm supposed to do. No, the focus is on how much can it build and how many people can I reach? How many conversations can I have? Because just like the girl at Walmart yesterday, I didn't get her name. Like, I didn't introduce myself. Like 2026, I wanted to think I was trying to spit game and I didn't even know. Not I'm in it. I was like, but like, I didn't end up getting a name. But like, even talking to her about like, a simple topic of what we all experience on an everyday basis, it's it's out there, it's something that happens. Like, so it's best to be aware of it. So that way, what's best to do. Like, for the people who think ignorance is bliss, it ain't. No, ignorance is just ignorance. Like, if you don't know, then you just don't know. And sometimes that is due to your own ignorance of what you're willing to learn. That keeps you at a certain level. So when you go out trying to blame the world, you can't.
like, because you've already set yourself up to where that you didn't want to do nothing. So now everything's happening to you and not for you because you didn't set yourself up. Now you need somebody to blame. See, you ain't gonna get nowhere like that. Do not be them people, man. Do not be them people. Them the people on the corners with signs with 2 working arms and 2 working legs and an ID and a social security number talking about some anything helps. Then go fill out an application at a temp agency somewhere and sweep up some construction and some dust for about 6-7 hours and make you $85 to $100 and start doing something. And then maybe with that, you do it. But no, what do? They want to be on those corners asking for money. Do not give them no money. If they are on it, now look, I tell you, I say this all the time. My passion for this is too strong. But like, if they ain't got no leg, then all right, cool. Like, then I'd be like, oh shit, bro, like, here you go. Like, I got a couple dollars for you. Like, you ain't got no leg. Like, I mean, like, you know, he probably collecting that disability and stuff like that too. So there's like, you know, a side hustle. But, you know, I mean, hey, look, we gotta all make our money, right? You feel me? But if they standing there with a sign and they got the sign in both hands, talking about anything else, look, there's a tip agency right down the street. Like, you know, hey, look, there's this construction crew hiring right now. You know, So don't be a person that just don't do anything because. Don't blame external factors because of the fact that you just don't want to work. Either you work or you don't. There is no middle grounds for this stuff. You either doing or you're not doing. You can't kind of be doing. Like, you can't almost get there. No. You're either on the way or you're still where you are. Like, don't bull me with the, you know, I've been working on the profanity, you know, let's do that. See the trees through the forest. Thanks, Ricky. Like, see the trees through the, yeah, because the expression is you only can see the trees through the forest, not the, but thank you. Yeah. You gotta, yo, big, like, and that's what I say, man. That's what it's about. I appreciate everybody in it. We doing our thing. Hey, look, Ray, I'm gonna get them shirts going. Like, so the idea. So this is one little side. I'll break this down to you real quick, and then we'll like end it from there because I just want to give an example of like my everyday, right? So I work full time. I had another job that I bartend at, and my next like investments that I want to do are like involving in like, you know, connections with businesses, right? You know, the people who made these shirts, for example, right? You know, if I connect with them and then I sell enough of these shirts to give their business publicity about how I sponsor their shirts on my channel, then we get into business, make more connections, they make more money, I make more money, more people get it, they bring in more business, then next, you know, more things can happen. That's like one of like my long-term, like, you know, investments of like being able to understand like how those structures and systems are made. I don't make shirts. I don't have any equipment to make shirts, but I do know plenty of places that do it to where that, you know, you can create partnerships and structures. And through those little structures and simple transactions, create that compound interest of those connections, those investments, that value that you can create over time to where that coming back and then placing a 500 shirt order, you know, because of the fact that they're just selling like hotcakes, like to where that they're winning, I'm winning, and the people who understand why they're buying it is winning too, because then it all works round and round. And so like the world doesn't have to lose. Like like, yes, not everybody gets the best deal, but it can always be a win-win-win. Like no one, I say it like this coming from restaurant experiences. Like if I'm the bartender at the restaurant and I'm serving you a great drink and you pay me for it and you come back with more friends, you come back 2 times a week, like you come back every Friday, I win because business is being handled and bills are being paid. You win because you want to come out and enjoy your night with great energy and great food. The business wins because that business makes money and then it always builds more. In any one of those points in time, where does someone have to lose at? Why does the business have to fail because the customer's not showing up? Why don't I get paid because of the person? Why does the food taste bad? Because, you know, like, why does any point in any of that have to someone has to be on the shit end of the deal. No, it can be everybody walks away with exactly what they want. Everybody's so cutthroat. The world is so harsh. The world is so cruel. Blah, blah, blah. The world is so... No, it's not it. There's just certain people in the world that are allowing the structure of it to not be as fine as, along with perspective of other people coming into that same environment. Like, oh, well, if they don't care, then I don't care. Versus the leaving it better than when you came kind of concept. Then you can see how these points can make our society just that much better. I'm not saying that, like, yes, like, there's a balance. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So for every good, there's bad. For every bad, there's good. It's how the world does. I can't break down that science with you yet. I'm still figuring that out. I don't understand. Well, like I say, in everyday situations, it doesn't have to be win, lose, win, or lose, 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 or lose, lose, win, or, you know, it can be a win, win, win as long as we go at it in the best mindset, right? Because you have the power to impact and change everyday scenarios and situations like that. So, tú puedes hacerlo. You got this. You do this. We in this. We making it happen because this is what we do. Who? With that being said, big shout outs to all my people who have been tuned in with me. If you new here, what's up? ¿Qué pasa? Excuse me. If you know me, what's up? ¿Qué pasa? Because we in it. And it only gets better from here because we keep getting better. So get out there, get your XP up, get your structures solidified, shift that perspective, because there's so much more that you can do as long as you're willing. And that's all you got to do is just be willing. You ain't even got to be good at it. You just got to be willing to understand it, look foolish at first, like attempt to get it. Most people will do something and they'll like do it and then like fall or drop it or something. And then like everybody's looking at them and they go, oh, I'll never do something like that again. Oh, it takes the person to go drop it or fall, and then everybody go, and they get up like, oh man, like that was something, but I'll get it next time. Like that's how I am. That's why I was so. That's how I'm like that. I'm like if I do something, I'm like, oh, whoop, like it's usually a flip, like right, you know, I do a flip and I land wrong. I'm like, hey, it was a bad flip this time, but watch. So. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to just get out there and find out what's the best possible things that can happen while doing it or not doing it, and then not allowing that blame. And I'm telling you, I'm not guessing. I'm telling you that it changes the whole structure of what you do, because then these thoughts come and then these actions follow those thoughts. And then those actions that you follow creates more character, and that character simply becomes who you are. With that being said, I appreciate everybody. I will see you next Saturday at 12. If you got different time frames and time zones, let me know so that way we can kind of get you there with us. I got the lives always set up so you can see it anytime afterwards. So if you need to recapture what we were talking about, then you're more than welcome to come back. Like I say, and I'm not even saying in no like 3036 or nothing like that. I'm saying we're in 2026 right now. 2028. Forget about it. So I will see you all next Saturday, so that way we can keep talking about it, so that way we can get in. And I'm saying, look, get it while it's hot, because when everybody want it while it's hot, it's gonna cost. But you can get it right now for the free. Hey, in 2028, you can come back to this video and see it too. But I'm telling you, get it while it's hot now, while it's in it to win it. I'm done with it. Get out of here. Go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have fun. Be safe out there. I don't know what you need to be safe from. I just hear people always say that. They always be safe out there. I'm like I've lived my whole life like in society. What is out here? I know. Like things are out here. Just do your thing, live your life. Like, stay aware. I will say, like, make sure you keep your focus at hands. Do what you do best. And I will see you all on the next one. Holla at your boy. I'm gonna do like cooler exits, but you know, we good. Look, we getting it. See ya.